Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be in the world. I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. My name's Rob, and this is the Pro Synth Network live show, episode 218. It's a slow news week again, but we have got something exciting for you lined up, coming up in just a short while. Hope you've been well since last we met, which was 7 days ago, unless you've been hanging around the pubs. I hope you've been well, and we've got a few things to talk about. We've got a special guest coming up, which we'll be covering something really cool. That's going to happen right after this show, actually. So stick around for that. We'll bring them in when they arrive. Before we do any of that, of course, it would be fantastic if you gave us a like, a comment, a subscribe, and a share. You can do it in that order, or any order you like, really. That'd be fantastic. Subscription means that you'll get notified of any other things that we do other than the Friday show, and it just helps the algorithm do its thing, really. If you want to support us, of course, you can do so on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/ProSynth Network, and you can do a minimum $2 a month subscription. That's all it is at the moment. We haven't really got enough stuff to warrant multiple tiers, but maybe. But you can pledge as much as you like, whether it's $2 or $10 or whatever. But it's just $2 minimum. It's just like going into a cheap bar. For doing that, you not only do you support the channel and help us, pay for all of the licenses and things that we need to do to keep this channel going, but you'll also get some free stuff. There's lots of synthesizer patches and video content and bits and bobs that are being added to all the time, and we have soundbanks from the likes of James Dyson and Mark Barnes and others besides. So go and fill your boots and help support the channel. That'd be great. If you don't want to do that, you can do super chat, super stickers through YouTube, or you can become a YouTube member, which is pretty much the same as a Patreon. It's a minimum $2, I think, to sign up to that, and we try to make sure that as a YouTube channel member, you get the same free stuff as the Patreon people do, or patrons, Patreoners, whatever. Anyway, you can also follow us on all of those platforms as well. The social media stuff, the Facebook one is the most active one, really. So you can follow us on all of those things. Come and join us and chat during the week. I keep thinking whether we should start a Discord channel. I don't know whether that's a thing, whether we could do that. Maybe let us know. Maybe if whilst somebody else is talking a little bit later on, I'll stick a poll up in the YouTube chat, and then we can have, should we have a Discord channel or not? It's just another way of annoying people, I suppose. But anyway, let us know in the comments, or if the poll goes up, let us know in the poll. Right, so that's all of that. If you have a question for myself or my colleagues, or for our guest that's coming on shortly, then can you preface it with a big capital Q, please? Because that just helps us identify it and move it to one side, where we shall ignore it for about half an hour and then throw it in at some point. But if you want to get our attention, put a big capital Q in front of it. That helps us identify that. And I think that's pretty much all of the housekeeping. Let us bring in my co-hosts for the evening, as per usual. First of all, Mr. Kent Spong, who disappeared off screen, and I've had to bring him back in again.
Hang on a minute, I can't hear a thing without my glasses on.
Without your glasses on. There we go.
Testing. There we go.
How are you, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Busy day.
Good. Don't expect any respite tomorrow.
Oh, actually, tomorrow's going to go a lot better.
Oh, okay. I hope so.
when I said I could only find 4 VCA chips?
Yes.
Well, I had a good old tidy up of the workshop today. I found a lot of things have been missing since before Christmas. And we now have 21. So
brilliant. So spares. Excellent stuff.
I think we're covered, yeah.
I forgot to ask you, do you have any fader caps for the 106?
Might be.
Okay.
possible. Let me think.
I think there's only 2 missing. But,
there's always only 2 missing. What is that all about?
Is it always just maybe? Is it the same
It's
ones?
always
I can't remember
2.
what they are. Can't remember which ones they are.
Somebody always loses it. No. I think if they lose one off the front panel, what they do is they take one from the mod panel and put it on there, and they just go, "I'm all right with the mod panel only having one," kind of thing, or none. But I want my front panel to be.
I think the mod panel's actually intact. There's just 2 off the top panel. Yeah.
We'll have a look. We'll see what we can find.
Yeah, it's no biggie. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, good to see you again. It was only been like 18 hours or so since last week. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I'll be seeing you again tomorrow in the flesh, along with Matthew.
Yes. I may even be dressed.
Wow, there's a first.
So, it doesn't happen often.
Well, good to see you, and let's cross over to somewhere near Stroud.
Berlin's near Stroud, depending on where you are, isn't it? Really?
Well, I suppose, yeah.
It's all relative.
Yeah. Who's that guy in Star Trek? Geordie LaForge. He's aged a bit, and he's
Yeah. Oh, he should have gone to engineering first.
Yeah, he should have gone to engineering to unmute his microphone. We can't hear a word you're saying because you're muted.
Engineering.
There you go.
Yeah.
What? What? There we go.
Producer extraordinaire.
Where?
Owner of MMO UK.
And Movia Studios.
And that as well. How are you, sir? Mr. Andrew Longhurst.
I have had a very... I will tell you after the show.
Oh, okay.
I've had a very difficult day and a half. Very.
Day and a half?
Very. Yeah, day and a half.
All in one day.
All in one? Wow.
Yeah. But otherwise fine. Everything's moving forward. I'm getting more synths back in here. I think I'm going to have to actually bite the bullet and clear some space, get rid of chairs and things, and actually put some stands up. And I've got all the mixers down here, so I think I might actually have to get on and... is my camera going all sort of weird?
It's a little bit...
I thought it was you.
It's like you've slapped the the Vaseline on the lens.
Or poured water on the roof.
For your close-up.
Yeah, that's just really weird. I'll work that out later. But in the meantime...
Yeah,
going to be getting
Stroud
some more
bandwidth.
Going to be getting some more in. Yeah, Stroud bandwidth. Yeah.
Talking of... I was actually...
Can I just quickly say...
Oh, sure,
Just quickly say... where is it now? Right, Peter. Yes, your drumulator is...
Oh, yes.
It's no longer critical. It's got a bit of a temperature still, but we've got bass drum, snare drum, I think it was it a tom? Cymbal.
Or a Dick, or a Harry.
How bad do you need a cymbal? The cymbal's a bit... It's there, but it's very, very quiet.
Here's
no, that's 2, actually.
Okay.
Yep. But, so it's coming... It is better. Just not
it's getting
fit for juicy.
Yeah, it's not terminal.
It's not terminal, no. It's come back
it's better
quite
as a
away.
doorstop.
Yeah.
You were talking about shelving and stuff. I'm desperately trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this room to make sure I can get everything that I've got in it, and what's coming to get in it as well. And I've been looking at some people's studio setups and saw a lot of people using these kind of catering shells, these metal...
They're heavy.
Chromed. Yeah, but they're 1200 mil wide, which is great for a 61 note.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get 8 on this one. It's not cheap, but it's industrial strength.
You have to lay down your stomach to play the bottom one.
Well, this is not for playing. This is for storing. So what I think I want to do is maybe in that corner there, put that up against the wall, and then store 8 keyboards that I rarely use. And then when I want to use them, I just pop them out, put them on a stand and use them, and then put them back again. Or maybe swap them.
They just gather dust, don't they?
Well,
they'll just gather
I'll
dust.
get dust covers. But, yeah, I've been looking at that. rather than getting another, well, maybe still getting another Jaspers, but maybe not as big a Jaspers as I was.
It is a
thinking.
better use of area
Yes,
than because Jaspers, they
well,
spread out a little, don't
exactly.
they?
Yeah,
For
they're
what
bigger
they're
at the
holding.
bottom than they are at the top. Exactly.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
I know Jaspers do vertical stands like this, but they're also quite expensive. So
Yeah.
I'm also thinking, like you, Robbie, it's time to perhaps get something with a shelf underneath that I can put a keyboard on and pull it out, so I can do things here, have a bit more space here, then dual level stands here and here, and some, some sort of racky thing here. Because I've got racks, and I'm just a
Like
bit
I got
cramped,
here.
and I prefer doing things from here than from the studio. Actually,
yeah.
curiously.
So yeah,
I'm spending all my time here at the moment. So yeah,
I've got me. I've been doing this thing. I have my tape measure and I go around measuring things, and then I might even
Tooled
turn this
up.
desk. Yeah, I might even turn this desk 90 degrees so I'm facing the window, which would open up a bit more wall space, because at the moment, I've got all that there. It's not really used, and I can't use this wall space because it's got a radiator in front there. But I can put the desk up against that. That's fine because it will kind of go.
I don't
around
recommend it.
No, it goes around. It will go around it. So
No, facing the window.
Oh, facing the window.
I don't
right.
recommend it.
No.
No, I don't recommend it. No.
Well, you face your window.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, but this is nailed to the wall. I can't do anything with it.
Well, there you go.
And as soon as I sat down, once everything was set up, and went, no. Yes. 21st of June. That's the screen. I can't see the screen. Yeah.
That's the other thing, because the sun comes round and it shines through onto my screen where I'm at the moment. Whereas if I face the window,
you won't see the
wouldn't.
screen because the light's in your eyes instead.
Well, I've got blinds. I've got these kind of blinds that I have. That,
You're
I can
blind?
open and close.
You're
Yeah, well,
blind?
generally if I watch the sun. But yeah, I'm just. I need to get my paper and pencil out and start drawing up stuff.
I'm just
and
working
try to figure
out
it all out.
whether to go double or triple on this on a stand. Take this down lower.
But
then-
that's the thing with stands, like this one. The more you put on it, the further they go back, and the more area they take up. So I'm looking at vertical rather than angled. So we shall see. Anyway,
I don't know if you can hear this, but I can hear this even with headphones on. But Siri is snoring.
oh bless her.
Is she?
And she's
Apparently you're a bit
terrible.
quiet, Andrew.
I'm quiet.
Apparently, yes.
Is that better?
Don't know. I mean, you sound
Someone
okay
let
to
me
us.
know. I was
Yeah,
sort of talking back here off mic, so it's probably because I just wasn't on mic. But let me know. Let me know.
Yep. Anyway, wide 8-tier shoe racks work well too, says man with beard.
Yeah, but what for?
For synthesizers.
For shoes.
For shoes, yeah. But
Yeah.
I need something that's got to take a lot of weight, because
Well,
some of these babies.
Fiona's
are
got
my
one
check.
of those very ones that you're looking at there. She's got one
Right.
of those, and she's got them in the built-in wardrobe, and they are really, really robust.
Well, that's what I want.
I
want something.
mean,
that can take-
stupidly robust. However,
according-
I would suggest that at the top, I think normally on the tall ones they got the little tag for you to put a screw into the wall.
do that.
Definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's got to be robust. So. Scott McCauley Sound says Jasper's vertical. Yeah, and that's one option. But this lost it now. It's not there. Yeah, so this thing is 238 quid. An equivalent Jasper's, which I think only takes 6, or they might be able to take more, would be nearer like 500. So it's almost double the price. So I am trying to keep costs down. But
There is
who
a
knows?
racking company I use for my storeroom. I wanted to rack things up properly, and I said, I've got proper racking, and it's full of it. And I found somewhere that's not a million miles away from me, I think, that was doing it at kind of half or a third of the price of rapid racking, but it's
Okay.
absolutely solid.
Oh.
I didn't look at whether or not they do 1200, 1500 or 1800, but I think they do.
Well, as long as it's 1200 width, 1800 height is probably, that's enough for like, a good 8 shells with enough gappage.
I'll dig it out.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So anyway, well, we've managed to kill almost 20 minutes just talking about shelving.
Well, I got a phone call today
Oh.
from a lovely little Chinese lady. I'm not going to do the voice. And she had a Rolly Seaboard.
Okay.
And she goes, "Can you help me?" And I went, "Well, it depends what's actually your problem." She goes, "Oh, we're getting no sounds from it at all, because the Seaboard does have sounds built in." And I went, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Oh, because I've just come off the phone from Rolly, who have said, oh, we don't repair them." And she says, "Do you know anywhere I can take them?" "No."
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't want anything to do with them. You buy them, you're on your own, boys and girls.
I said to you yesterday, didn't I? I've been having a chat with Steve Elbows, and we got onto the subject of Rolly, and he said, "Have you seen these?" And he sent me these things. These are either current or ex-Rolly employees who have written guides on how to manage the management team of Rolly, in particular the owners, who are, shall we say, rather unique individuals, and it's both hilarious but also very concerning that these people are still trading based on how the service they provide or don't, as you just pointed out, and the way they treat their customers, the way they treat their staff as well as their customers. It's quite concerning that stuff still goes on. But I will forward those to you later on, and I'm sure if Steve, who is just in the chat, wants to share them publicly, he may want to do that. Rolly will charge a user 3 times the cost of repair to have to ship they get down. Yeah. It's a shame because
I'm really thinking of actually taking these Rolly repairs on.
Do you know that might not be a bad idea?
Well, we'll have to see how it goes, and spare's going to be a massive, massive problem. But
You can 3D print them.
Yeah, but if this is the problem that people are going to be facing, there's going to end up being a lot of broken Rollies.
Yeah.
And that's my source of parts. Then is go around buying broken Rollies. Fiona's going to love me.
Yeah.
But have some sort of something in place for people who spent £5,000 on a Seaboard, or 1,800 quid on a Rise. Yeah. Okay. Strawberry.
It's a real shame. It's a real shame because those people that like you and Rich are big. You like the Rolly, you prefer it over other expressive keyboard technologies, but as you say, the support.
Well, I think both. I think I speak for Richard on this point, but I think both of us are kind of reluctant in terms of promoting it, if you know what I mean. We'll say, "Oh yeah, no, playing it, you put in the time and everything. They're really, really brilliant," but wouldn't say you must go out and buy one. Because you are dangling them over the river of lava, really.
Yeah.
You may fall in, you may not. As long as it's working, cool.
Which is disappointing with something that is so expensive, that gave the impression, not the impression, but gave the sort of the whole thing was based on it being a unique and amazing instrument that was going to change everything. And all it's changed is people's bank accounts, and there seems to be an awful lot of that's not all it's changed. It's a very good instrument for some, but to hear what we've heard is not good. By the way, Richard, talking of jelly, let me know what flavour jelly you like.
Well, talking of questions for our audience, I'm just going to throw this poll up into the YouTube chat should PSN have a Discord channel. So, yay or nay, and we can bring those results to you a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, we've now managed to kill a few more minutes before our special guest arrives. Should we talk about what little news there has been in the world of synthesizer and electronic musical instruments? Because it's been sparse. It has been sparse.
That's a whole new use of the word sparse, I must admit.
Well, indeed, yeah. So, we spoke about Bullfrog, which is this new kind of project from Erica Synths in conjunction with Richie Hawtin, the techno DJ, who I was in the company of a few weeks ago without knowing. Somebody said, "Oh, do you know who that is?" And I said, "Nope, some strange, skinny-looking bloke with a weird haircut."
I told you to put a peephole in the toilet door.
That's Richie Hawtin. That is, I know that name, but I
do apologise. I don't know where that came from.
It's okay. But anyway, Richie has teamed up with Erica Synths, and he developed this the Bullfrog training. It's like an educating synthesizer. It's a very big thing. There's also a small one as well, but the big kind of teaching one is along the lines of the teaching Korg, the big Korg Blackboard thing, and there have been one or two others over the years. But now they've started, this is a prototype. This hasn't actually gone into production. You cannot get this yet. But this is a Bullfrog drum machine, which has this kind of minimalist 909 style, and I say that the buttons look very similar, but it's a simple, straightforward drum machine that you can now pair up with your Bullfrog synthesizer. They're hoping to have something ready fairly soon, but this is still in the development stage. But it looks like a really nice. Simple drum machine. I read somewhere that it's sample based, but all the demos I heard sounded very analog. So whether they're just analog samples or whether it is genuinely an analog, and I would expect it to be an analog drum machine from America Synths. I'm just trying to have a quick look through.
Is this aimed at education?
Well, it's aimed at making things simple for people who want to get into it. I think is the main focus of it. It is a sample based drum machine. I read the things. Yeah, it's got two what appear to be two little speakers in there, but I think one of those actually, that top right one, I think that might be a microphone. So you can sample your own sounds in, and then that's probably a little speaker, but I'm sure it's got connections on the back. There is a demonstration video on YouTube that was recorded at Superbooth where they had the prototype, and it sounds. I mean, honestly, I was listening to it. I thought that's actually an analog drum machine, but reading through the blurb here, it is a sample-based drum machine. So it sounds quite good.
It's interesting. Through some of the research I was doing for this other project I'm working on, one of the things I did find out, those square slappy buttons,
yes,
are massively cheap at the moment.
Oh,
so there's been a huge amount of them produced to the point of surplus, and they're cheaper to buy than practically any other button on the market at the moment. So it could have been a design choice, or it could have been simply like, well, they're cheap, whack them in, which is how most designs come about anyway.
Could be, yeah. Doesn't say whether it's
because they look a bit oversized for the size of the unit, if you follow me. Yeah.
But it is supposed to be a simple, basic thing. Like this is the Bullfrog. This is the standard Bullfrog synth, and they say there is a Bullfrog XL, which is the teaching version, which I saw at Synth East, and it looked a bit like. Do you remember that those Fisher Price toys that used to bolt onto the inside of a child's thing? Yeah, it looked a bit like that. Yeah. So,
have we any guide on what the price might be?
No. It's still it's a prototype. So there's no other information. I mean, we are literally scraping the bottom of the news barrel this week. So I thought, hey, why not? But that's interesting, and I'd like to play a clip of the video, but it's quite a long video. So if you want to hear that, you can go to YouTube and just search Bullfrog drums, and there's a video that was recorded at Super Booth going through that.
Kent can beatbox it.
Good.
Go on, Kent.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get Siri to snore it. 'Cause, honest to God.
Bless. We can't hear her, so she's fine.
Yeah, I think I've got that filtery thing on over there.
Oh, right, okay.
What do they call it? Because over here it sounds like a bulldozer being... no, I'm not going there. It's not a pub. No, stop.
I forgot to get the wife to get some treats for them, so I'm going to have to stop on the way tomorrow.
Okay.
See if I can... There's usually a Greg's around somewhere.
To be honest with you, they have plenty of treats here. They really do.
Well, maybe I just thought it'd be nice.
You see, if I hand you the treats and you hand it to them, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, true.
They don't care.
So-
They're still getting a treat.
They're still getting a treat, yeah.
And talking of, whilst we're waiting for our special guest, is there anything else that's percussive or otherwise that we?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Unfortunately.
Fair enough.
No, so there is. This was the one other kind of confirmed new piece of thing that was coming out this week.
Lin 9000.
And that is,
oh no, it's not.
yeah. Oh no, it's not. It's another clone from Behringer, the Syncussion SY1, of course, inspired by, copied from, delete as applicable, the Pearl Syncussion. Which is an interesting drum machine. Oh, not actually a drum machine; it's a drum synthesizer. But Behringer have resurrected it for better or for worse. And I never used the original. I knew a drummer that had one, and he had because the original actually came with 2 drum triggers, drum-sized triggers. And he had one attached to his acoustic kit to go do the disco toms, basically. I think that's all he ever used it for.
So this does have trig inputs, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But more importantly, you can connect it to a drum machine or to anything MIDI and trigger it that way. And the sounds. I mean, we'll play. Let's play a little clip of the promo video and keep our fingers crossed that we don't get hit with it. Did I tell you we got hit with a copyright claim when we played the Bob Moog Foundation trailer for the raffle? I think it was, or something.
Lucky sod. I never get them.
And it was nothing to do with the BMF. It was the music that was being played in the background, which was just some sort of plinky plonky stuff. And apparently somebody claimed it. I've disputed it, and it's currently being ignored. So we'll just wait another 20 days or so, and we'll be fine. But I think it would be rather ironic of Behringer to put a copyright claim in to somebody else. But there you go. Let's have a quick listen.
I love the description, the deeply musical description of plinky plonky.
Plinky plonky, yeah. Plinky plonky.
Yeah, it is a musical genre.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you, Kent. Tell you beatbox. I'm just not.
Anyway,
I am not
beatboxing. Let's have a quick listen, shall we? Here we go. So there you go. That's kind of what it sounds like, and I must admit it does sound interesting.
Was that Ken?
Yeah.
Was that you beatboxing? I actually,
extra points for recognising the Roland graphics.
But I hate to say this, but I really like the sound of it.
Yeah.
I like the sound of it.
It's a nice, it's a nice, unique sound. Yeah.
But it's
$199, I believe.
Yeah, based off on the Pearl, you said?
Yes, the Pearl Syncussion.
Talking of pearls.
Talking of pearls, yes, that's a good segue. That's a good segue. Talking of pearls, here's a pearl in our shell, the one and the very only, Mr. Dina Perlman.
Dun, dun, dun.
Here she is. On her day off as well, no less.
Nobody ever has a day off when they have a not-for-profit. No.
Tell
Well,
me about it.
you're off from the day job, shall we say. How
There
are
you
you,
go.
Dina?
I don't even know. I haven't stopped trying to flood the interwebs with all sorts of last-minute information. So I'll let you know. I still have a
okay.
pulse.
Well, thanks ever so much for joining us at rather short notice. But
Absolutely.
I just thought there were two really good reasons for getting you on. Well, actually, three good reasons. One was that it is a pretty light news week this week, so we had some space to fill. The second reason is
I'm
got
so sorry, Dina.
The second reason is
How the
that
hell
you've
did you
got
get
something
married?
very exciting happening right after this show, which we'll talk about. But I think most poignantly is today would have been the 99th birthday of your father, the man who gave us all of those wonderful instruments and sounds. So I just thought it would be rather appropriate to get you on. And I hope that today, how is today for you? How do you celebrate, or how does Dina Perlman?
Well, I took the day off from my day job, as you know, and did a lot of preps for this wonderful video that we're going to be having. I think I'm doing a very unique celebration that sort of serendipitously came upon me. Right after the show, I'm jumping on a train to New York City to meet a cousin of mine on my father's side, and we're going to a family gathering, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
Because some of us haven't seen each other since we were, knee high.
Right.
And I think it's quite poignant that it's actually happening, right on the father's birthday weekend.
Yeah.
It's to honor one of our elders that passed away recently, one of my father's first cousins, one of the last first cousins. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of my tribe, people that actually knew my dad, and in person. So that's I think I can't think of a better way to celebrate.
No.
But I typically, I look through pictures. I talk to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get that.
I wear ARP things, and but in all honesty, he's always on my mind and in my heart. So today's just a way that I can celebrate with the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't realize this until today, that your father shares his birthday with Prince.
Ah.
Prince was born on this day in 1958.
Oh, wonderful.
So there you go.
There's someone else. I want to say Tom Petty, but I'm not sure.
Could possibly be, but yeah.
So he was the same age as my dad as well.
Oh.
So my dad, of course, his 90th birthday last March.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There you go.
There you
Wow.
go. Oh, by the way, in honour, and these are heavy, by the way. I bought. It is tradition to bring up something that's referenced.
Appropriate.
So
Oh, how lovely. How lovely. That's great.
it's not a tonus, but it is a G clef. So
You blew off the dust.
yeah, well, actually, it's covered in WD-40. Such a mess. Poor thing was such a mess. It really was. Bless it.
Oh,
Haven't
my
seen
goodness.
any work.
Next time you take a break, I have someone donated a little surprise to the foundation, which is downstairs.
Okay.
So next time you go off to chat about
something you'll run.
Some kind of equipment, I'm going to run down to the studio and get it. But it's pretty exciting.
Can you carry a 2500 by yourself?
Oh gosh. Unfortunately.
So, in honor of your father's birthday, which is today, you've got a special broadcast on your YouTube channel, which is going to kick off right after this show over on your channel.
Yes.
Cool.
Tell us a little bit about your conversation with the wonderful, brilliant Anthony Marinelli.
Oh gosh. Well, it's interesting. I think the first time we ever spoke, it turned into this long conversation, and we've been yakking away ever since. He has some interesting parallels to my dad as far as, loving classical music and being, well, I think many people were turned on to electronic music by hearing Wendy Carlos,
Yeah.
switched on Bach, which was my father's tipping point, as you all know, and apparently his as well. This was like the meeting of, two worlds together. So we always have a lot to talk about, and so we just continue on. I mean, I think I had 2 hours of footage that I had to cut back to.
Wow.
To an hour just to spare everybody our babbling. But
he is one of those guys. He's one of those guys, isn't he? That he's so easy to talk to, and he's so giving. And yeah, he's such a cool guy. I'm so glad that we managed to we made contact with him, and he's been supportive of us, and we've supported him, and he's just so encouraging and positive. He's a lovely, positive human being.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we again, I think you'll find the conversation very interesting. But we do talk a lot about the next generation, and that young people and their interest in synthesizers and music is our future. Passing the baton, so to speak, and all that.
So you mentioned that you and he sort of hooked up at NAMM. There he is, twiddling with a 2600. That's on your stand at NAMM, isn't it? Earlier this year.
That is actually the first time we met. Was at Rob Rosen's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had just heard about Don Lewis though being in hospice, and I was not focusing on anyone really. It was so. It was really the reintroduction that you made that really enabled me to have a true and great connection with him. And, we have some ideas about where to celebrate my father's centennial next year. So
cool.
That's percolating in the background.
Nice.
Speaking of background, can you see the storm going on?
You can see, yeah, certainly it's rather windy out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at that, yeah.
Yeah. Let's pray that the internet stays up.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Otherwise, I'll rejoin on my phone if that happens. But
just going back to your father for a moment, I just want to share this picture here, which is a brilliant picture. That's your dad on the far left, is it?
Yes, he's the one to the left with the little mischievous grin.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my grandmother who's holding his younger brother, Donald.
Okay.
And my great-grandmother, Clara, who's the one on the right. I think that's where all of our curly hair came from.
Okay.
Yeah, this is in the Bronx. And
wow.
I never saw this till after my dad passed. There was a whole slew of pictures, of photographs that were kind of hidden away. And, I've talked a lot about hidden ARP tapes, but there's also been hidden family pictures, which are just amazing. So
this must have been, the late 1920s?
Yeah, so let's see. If he was born in 25, I would say he's, 2 years old here, maybe?
Yeah.
Barely, yeah.
27, 28, yeah. Wow.
He said he remembered the George Washington Bridge being built.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, just because Dina supplied me with some wonderful pictures here. This is your mum and dad.
Yep. This
looking
is, I think,
very
they were still
stylish.
recording. I know, right?
Very swanky. Very swanky.
They look like they're about to go to a bebop club.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this was a little bit later on.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I look like I've just come back from the bebop club.
Yeah.
The drinks were
down
free.
in Greenwich Village, getting down with the cats. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, some brilliant images. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for letting us share those with our viewers. Just to go back to our viewers, if you have any questions for Dina, please do throw them into the chat. We will pass those on. We have our moderators in the chat as well. So we have Andrew. I think Andy Synth Addict is on his travels at the moment. He's been going around locations for, I think it's Dawn of the Dead or one of those films that they've been going around in one of these kind of location tours.
Oh my God.
He's not around, and I haven't seen our other moderator Ben from Musings, who might be lurking in the background. But Mr. Brooks is holding the fort. Thank you very much indeed.
Yay, Mr. Brooks.
So, yeah, if you have a question, stick a big capital Q in front of it, and then we can pick that out. So you've got the conversation with Anthony Marinelli that goes live at 9 p.m. UK time. So that's 4 p.m. East Coast.
Yes, and not to worry. There is a 5-minute. I did an extra long.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Watch party release so people can switch their channels. Really,
and then take a comfort break, refill their glasses, and then come sit down.
That's right.
And watch it. Of course, the beauty of YouTube is that you can press pause and then just be a slight delay behind. Will there be a live chat going on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And will you be in there? Will Anthony be in there as well? Or
I'm pretty sure he will be. We had talked about that so long ago that
he does so much to support these things, and once he's such a passionate man as well. Once he gets into something, he adores the whole ARP thing. He really, really does. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the chat. I'm going to be there watching it. I'm definitely going to be there watching it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the remarkable thing about Anthony is that he's been in the business and in the game for over 4 decades. He's a hugely skilled musician, composer, conductor, synthesist, and probably lots of other things besides. But he only really broke into our consciousness in the last maybe 2 or 3 years. And again, this I hate to say it, but maybe because of the global pandemic. That he and his son Dante, who's an absolute cool dude. If you ever get to meet Dante, he's just amazing.
Oh yes, I met him. Yes.
And very handsome chap. He started his channel, Anthony Marinelli Music, and based it off of the whole breaking down of how Thriller was made. That's how it started. He was doing this podcast about the way that Thriller was made, because he was involved in pretty much every track on the album for in terms of programming synthesizers. That's how I discovered him in this world of YouTube and podcasts, and he's soared to 100,000 subscribers in literally no time at all. I mean, we've been going like 4.5 years, still on about 4,000 subs.
Tell me about it.
I know, and yet. And look, I don't begrudge Anthony, because his channel is super interesting, and I watch his videos, and I've watched some of his videos multiple times because they are so good.
We're prettier. I mean,
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we haven't got his. Prettier. He's so cool though. That's the thing. He's such a cool guy. We're not.
He's a cool dude.
But it's a remarkable kind of rise to fame in that another feather in his cap, another aspect to his career. And he gets lots of cool people on his channel as well, which is very, very nice to see. People like Greg Fillinganes and the people that are still surviving that worked on such so many of these great albums. It's great to see. So we love Anthony, and we are great fans, and he helps us, we help him, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Can I bring this back to your dad and to the instruments as well?
Yes.
Because I know we've got to talk about some of this kind of stuff a bit later on, but I clearly remember the first time I heard, I think it was Living in the City, Stevie Wonder, and I was, what? And City Ghetto Land, which was a different thing, but particularly Living in the City, the fluidity of the sound, and how the bass sound, and then the lead, the whole that line, and it stuck with me, and I've got to get one. I went out and I got one. I went and got a 2600 plus the 1602, and it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And he did that, and your dad has an extraordinary legacy in creating instruments that just you want to and have to play.
Yeah.
And I know he got lauded. I was going to ask you, how many people would you have sort of coming round to the house to say, hi, look, can I, did that happen?
They came around to the factory, which was very close to the house. I mean, we lived maybe 3 miles from the first two art plants. So apparently everybody went there. I mean, I didn't even know. Herbie Hancock told me he went there. Patrick Gleason told me he went there. I was told that Stevie went there. So I know that Jimmy Page, yeah, everybody, they all stopped by. And he was, but the story that he was not a starstruck kind of guy.
Yeah.
So, he would be glad that they came by. If they wanted to meet him, he would come out, but he wasn't always
Richard.
oh, cool, Richard. In Lexington or in Newton?
We'll find out shortly.
We'll find out soon. Yeah. But yeah, there was always hearing stories about, Dad met this one, this one came to the factory, and as far as me meeting people, a lot of them I didn't remember because I was really young. I do remember going to Hugo Montenegro's house.
Oh
my God, bicycle from Somerville.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, that's pretty far. That's a good 10 miles, I guess, or 15 miles or maybe more. I don't know.
I knew Richard was Superman.
With a broken Muton. He's like, fix this thing, please. But yeah. So there was always that sort of shadow of this one and that one was here. My dad bought all the albums that he thought we should hear. So at the first time I was living in the city, I believe was in my living room.
Cool.
Yeah, and I just to finish that sort of thing off. When people were coming, did they make appointments or whatever? But it always seemed like it was the coolest, grooviest place to be, and so many influential artists ended up knocking on the door. Do you know if they actually made appointments or they just turned up? Well, yeah, what happened?
That we will have to ask some of the people that worked at our. Like Mike Brigida or Mary Locke, and that's a really good question. Yeah. I do remember I met Bob Moog. He came to the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just reminded me. Today is another anniversary of the passing of Bob's wife, and of course Michelle's mum passed on this day 6 years ago. So it's been a contemplative day all round for the daughters of the legends. Yeah, that should be a thing. There should be a collective for you two. There must be others as well. There must be other.
Oh sure, Tom Oberheim's daughter.
Yeah.
Dave Smith's daughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
A polyphony.
Yeah, a polyphony of synth legend daughters. This Richard Hilton guy, he gets around, doesn't he?
He does.
It was a really good bike.
You mean you went from Somerville to Ithaca? That's crazy. Okay.
Oh, he set his mind on it. That was it, mate.
That's it. Yeah.
You still haven't said what jelly. We're bringing jelly.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Brilliant. So there is another thing that today is the first day. And don't worry, we have got some questions from our audience, but I just want to get this in there. So when you were on the last time, and I apologise if this covers up your face, but this is just the way that this system works. You were very excited because you had got this, which is the 2500, and here it is in its wonderful case.
Yes.
And tell us what news comes from the 2500 today.
Ooh, gosh. Well, today is the first day someone can go into the Record Co. and book time with it.
Yay.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. So anybody, as a matter of fact, you can book online. So I know there's several of you that as perks for the fundraiser have some time due. So I know who you are. You should definitely go online, and they have a special checkbox that if you want to book the 2500. But definitely contact me about the fundraiser perk. Yeah. But it's very reasonable. I mean, you rent space there for anywhere between $10 and $25 an hour, depending on the size of the room and whether you want a recording space or not. Once you book the 2500, we will supply you with some learning resources. We have a PDF, PDFs of the manual, information about all of the different filters and oscillators and modules, and learning videos as well. So we are, understanding that this is a rare instrument that a lot of people don't get to use a lot, and so they, or ever, or even seen. A few people I was really surprised to say they hadn't even been in the same room as one.
Yeah.
So we will supply you with resources, so you don't have to come cold. If you are in the Boston area or close enough that you want to travel, also next week on Wednesday the 12th, we'll be having a special workshop with Jim Mitchmer-Heisen from the Boston School of Electronic Music.
Nice.
He was one of the first educators of modular synthesis in our area, and
Cool.
I'm very excited. He's a great gentleman. He's the guy who wrote the user's manual for the 2600.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which, people have really said, it's a classic in learning synthesis, one of several that came out of the ARP world. So he was hired by my dad to write this manual.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant
so we're
stuff.
so excited. I mean, it's been a long time coming. We created this wonderful case. I don't know when you showed it. I don't know if you showed it again. It's a plexiglass case, and the reason why is because all of the ARP instruments at the Record Co. are in an area called the ARP Lounge. So you go in, and it's sort of a big alcove towards the end of one of the areas when they have the studios. And so you can go and sit there, and you can go through some manuals, and you can turn on an instrument and play. And we decided, maybe this is the one instrument we don't want people just turning on and playing, but we want people to see it and get excited about it. And usage is available just like all the others. We're just trying to keep it as healthy as long as possible. So
yeah. I mean, it looks in fantastic condition. That's very cool. Let's just bring up the Record Co. website so that people can see that. I should have been doing this in the background. Here we go. Very professional. Hey, there we go. That's the Record Co. website. And somewhere on there, I don't know whereabouts.
So if you go to
there is that?
Yeah, there it is.
No, that's just links to the Instagram page.
Oh, right.
Isn't it?
Actually, click on that. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Will it work?
There we go. Can you hear the audio for that as well?
You can talk to, but it's really bad idea to.
There you go. Q-Co. There we go. There you go. There it is.
I think that story is in one of the 10 million posts that I made today. So,
and rightly so.
If you have the patience to go through it, you can find it, or look up, the Record Co. Boston, Record Co. Boston.
Lots of facilities there. It looks like quite the place.
Oh, it's just a gorgeous facility. Yeah. It's worth the ride if you're nearby, or if you're coming into the States. It's a must see.
Nice.
Would you ever consider doing virtual, connections to the 2500? So if I were to do it from here and ring you up and say, guys, I want to book some time, but I'm not going to be able to sit there doing it. Do you have someone that can do it and we can work through something? Would that be something you would contemplate doing?
Well, I think that's a great idea, actually, because, and the answer is yes. We have about 4 educators, 2 of which are board members, 1 friend of the board, and 1 amazing volunteer that are all well versed in using it. And we did think about having a virtual workshop, but I think we wanted to just start off easy. We are going to tape this. Anyone who goes to the workshop itself will be able to get a tape a recording of it. And maybe we might use some of that to, further our educational possibilities for
It'd
how
be
to use
great
it.
to do a bunch of loops. Just keep putting out bunches of loops because everyone will be different. You could. Anyway, we'll get
Well,
to
let's
that
talk because I love your ideas. This is great.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. Definitely. So there we go. If you are in the Boston area, you can now book time with a real, genuine ARP 2500 in incredible condition and in a fantastic setting as well. Don't forget, also, straight after this show, in just over 1 hour's time, Dina will be interviewing, or has recorded an interview with Anthony Marinelli, and that's going to go out live 9 p.m. UK, which is 4 p.m. East Coast and 1 p.m. on the West Coast, I believe. And then the rest of you can work out your time zones from there. But yeah, it's just basically as soon as we end, that starts. Go and watch that. So I think, was that all the things we needed to cover with you, Dina?
Well, Ken, would you? I just got to ask you, how much of your house would you demolish to have a 2500 in there permanently that you owned? Do you like them?
I want Hans's back. I want it back. It's 98% me anyway.
Yeah.
She's built from the power supply. I even sprayed the power supply red. I put her into a red cage because everything had to be redone. So everything got redone.
And that's how they were originally.
I got the call from Hans. He goes, "Get everything redone, everything." Okay. So I did everything. Yeah. But I'm just thinking about how lucky I was because I spent a week in the workshop because I didn't tell Hans it was finished, and I spent a week in the workshop with it, just me and this enormous 2500 at 3 wings and a 2500 on top, and just messing around with it for a week. It was absolute fecking heaven. It was wonderful. But I started doing a mod on it based on something he asked me. He says there's a lot of crosstalk in the matrix panels because sometimes, like, if you've got a loud audio running through one of the copper bars, the bar above can pick it up and it can pass on to the next channel.
Induction.
Yeah, and I was messing around with having card with foil on it between the bars to see if it reduced it, and it did really reduce it quite a lot, but I thought it took away the character. So I told him, I said, I don't think it sounds like a 2500 like when you've done that. It's the crosstalk is that hidden ingredient in the synth.
It's like the summing amps in mixers. Yeah,
exactly. If you try to take out what is perceived as wrong, you actually kill the sound.
Yeah.
So I pulled them all out and said, no, I'm not doing it. And he was like, well, okay, whatever. But yeah, I spent a week with that thing. It was absolutely,
I had it here for, maybe two months. Here meaning my house and the studio I share with my husband downstairs. And because we got it from Phil Scirocco, who did all the restoration for us. And we kind of met halfway at a secret location. We had to blindfold everybody. And it was a thing. But we brought it back here, and I remember sitting there and looking at it, and it smelled right. All these memories came back, and I'm like, oh no, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I mean, we made an arrangement. It was over the Christmas holidays, so we did a Zoom, and he got me going, and he started. And I don't know if you remember, I did a sequence. I got the clock sequencer to have the steps of Old Lang Syne. I was so excited. It's not easy, like the first time you ever use a theremin, you're like, oh yeah, and then you try to control it. It had that same kind of, I should know how to do this, but I don't.
You didn't.
I had
straight away.
Yeah, so a bunch of people did some tutorials with me on this thing. Oh gosh, yeah, it was
Well, I
quite.
know that one of the the most coveted module, at least in my experience, was it is it the 1047?
Multi-
Is it the 1040? Oh, well, anyway, but basically, what it is, it's a high pass, low pass filter, but it's got this feature on it that I've never seen on anything else. I mean, maybe there is in Eurorack now, but but for the bulk of the years, and it had a CV control in for just the resonance without actually affecting the filter sweep.
Oh.
And there was nobody was doing that. Where you could have, even if the filter was open, you could still have resonance, and you could trigger it from an LFO or a sequencer or whatever.
That's really
as
cool.
almost a separate element on the filter simultaneously. It was an incredible idea. I've never ever seen it on anything else, and I know there's people who really love the filter because of this. Not only the sound of it, but because it was so unique in the way you could actually operate it. Because when people, you know what it's like. You do a review on a filter, and you go, "Oh, what's it do?" Oh, well, it sort of goes, "Wah, wah," and it goes, and it does that. But this thing was doing all sorts of, and it was the way it was. You were hearing filters opening and closing, and resonance not moving with it, and your brain's going.
That's yeah.
But you could create some incredible sounds with it.
Yeah. If you want to hear what 2500 sounds like in good hands, then I highly recommend going to Benji's channel, the Meme Tune Studio, where he has a number of individual videos such as this one, and he also featured it in his Meme Tune TV series as well. But he does some amazing stuff with this.
One of mine.
There you go, yeah. And there's actually an episode of the Meme Tune show where he creates a patch from scratch, and it was just fascinating. And I learnt so much because I really didn't know this machine at all and how it worked.
He's moved the envelope generator.
This was a few years ago, I think. But there you go. So I would highly recommend going to Benji's channel. It's called the Meme Tune Studio. And as well as this video, there's lots of other amazing synthesizer videos on there. And of course, his amazing Meme Tune program, of which there are 2 seasons. Is it 2 or 3 seasons? I can't remember now. Which are brilliant. They're so tongue-in-cheek, but incredibly informative and very interesting. For synth nerds of every variety, he covers analog synthesizers, digital synthesizers, weird synthesizers, common synthesizers, everything in between. It's just a marvelous thing.
You paid $3,000 for that.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
I know.
The guy selling it had another one that he was selling. He had 2 for sale.
Really?
And the guy in Norway bought it, and then they both bought them to me the same weekend. Goes, can you make work? And I went, yeah. So I had 2 2500s all of a sudden to mess
Was
around
the
with.
guy in Norway the one that has now that they created a virtual 2500?
No. Because if I remember rightly, I got an email from his wife. He passed on. When was it? It'll be. During lockdown, I think it was. He'd passed on. And she goes, how much do you think the 2500 is worth? I mean, well, now, yeah. You want to buy a new house?
Yeah.
Not a problem. I said I'd get that independently valued, but in Norway it'll mean more being done there than anywhere else.
We have some questions from our audience. First of all, this odd question from Carl Bedford, the great Carl Bedford, via the amazing Ben Breslin. Carl Bedford asks, is this the real Dina, as opposed to what? The fake one? Is there a fake Dina Perlman? Yeah,
Not me at all.
I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you damn pesky kids.
Only one. Oh, I mean, there are other Dina Perlmans actually. There is somewhat well-known actress in New York. Hold on a second, I just unplugged you. In New York. So her name is Dina Perlman, spelled the same way.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
There's also a graphic artist in Florida, same name, spelled the same way, which is interesting because you could spell Perlman without the A, and you can spell Dina
Yes.
with 2 E's, but they're all spelled the same way. So this is one of a couple, apparently. Maybe
I can
Dina
show you.
Perlman is like
I
James
can show
Smith,
you
the
this
Jewish
is the
girls.
real. I can show you this is the real Dina because. Hang on, Dina. Will you? Will you? No, okay, that's enough.
I just
Moving
want to
on.
know where did he get the
I'm
ring
not a
from?
feminist,
I'll have to
unfortunately, but
tell
I will
Liz.
keep you in mind if I
Yeah.
ever change my mind.
Somebody beat you to it, but
Well, I'd marry Ruperto as well. He's
I
quite
know,
well,
right?
you know.
He's beautiful.
My wife wouldn't mind if
He's
I
a
married
lovely
Ruperto
man.
as
I
well.
don't blame you.
Scott McCauley Sounds, what is Dina's first memory of synths? Is there a really special day between you and your dad, which is embedded in your memory that really got you hooked on synths and electronic music? That's a good question.
So my first memory of the idea of synths was in our basement. It wasn't with a synthesizer per se, but it was something that he was using that was creating sound waves with an oscilloscope.
Okay.
So the house that I grew up in was fairly old, not by European standards or whatnot, but it was built at the turn of the last century. And the main house, he had a workbench. They went on to create an addition, and under that was a big room that that became mini incarnate. Anyway, back to that. So I remember sitting with him while he made sounds with some kind of electronic things plugged into the oscilloscope. So that was my first memory of him in action. But I grew up listening very early to Gershon Kingsley. Remember the In Sounds from Way Out? Does anyone
Yes.
remember?
Yeah.
And it was this really weird, quirky poppy stuff, which popcorn, yeah. And then there was Mort Subotnick, and we would listen to this really crazy music, and I connected that with what he was doing. But my first memory of actually seeing them was in the Kenneth Street plant. It was in Newton Highlands. It was the one on the dirt road. The building still exists. It's a little warehouse, cinder block warehouse. And I remember, the rooms having them, and standing in front of the 2500 and not knowing what to do and feeling a little frustrated. But I was fascinated by the colors. And I remember the smells, and I know I've spoken about this in public before. There's a certain smell that old electronics have,
Yeah.
right, Ken?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I smell it all the time.
And the first time I smelled it after my dad died, when I went to Berkeley, I think I burst into tears. I was just like, "Oh my God, this is
Yeah,
this
that
is
smell.
Oda
So this is the
tantalum, yeah.
Yeah, so the first connection with my dad in synthesizers was, first the oscilloscope, and then going to the factory very early on and seeing the 2500. That was the first synthesizer I ever saw.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah. According to Wagyu, apparently there is a robot, Dina, that handles some of your public appearances.
Oh dear, I hope not.
There is another question. This is from Icing the Body Electric. Little bit off kilter here. At the risk of maintaining my reputation as a book pest, is that a bio of Janis Joplin on the shelf behind Dina? Plus, what are your favourite three of your favourite books?
Oh my goodness. Well, yes, that is. And I went to a book reading.
You don't get any points for that, by the way. It does say Janis on it.
It's there's not many Janices around that have a book written about them, I suppose.
Lately.
Well, yeah, quite. She was a force of nature.
When it
comes to books, my favorite of the moment, and this is another part of my family, so this is the book, and her husband is a local musician who does these David Bowie things.
Okay, so the husband of the author, Holly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So this is not to tout this book. It's just a sort of, this is my favorite book right now because it has to do with personal history. It's
Okay.
called The Persistence of Hope. It's by my mom's brother, Albert Alcali,
Oh, wow.
about the years during the war in Italy.
Nice. I wouldn't mind reading that.
What else could I say is one of my favorite books? I have so many, and this is not even. Oh gosh. Oh, Shantaram. Here we go. So a good novel if you want to read all summer.
Oh, wow, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an amazing book. They did make it into some kind of movie, I believe. But it's definitely one of my favorite books of all time. It's written by this Australian convict who escaped and lived in Bombay.
Cool.
So as far as fiction, this is definitely one of my favorite fictions.
Nice. Well, that's a good selection there. Maybe it's I wouldn't mind reading the book about your family, especially during the war in Italy, because as we spoke yesterday, we both have family histories of people in Italy during the war. So I wouldn't mind reading that. Excellent stuff. One more question at the moment from our dear friend, Dr. Mike Metley. Can I get a T-shirt like the one you're wearing? Also, hi, Dina. There you go.
Hi.
Close Encounters of the Ark kind. Of course, the
Yes.
connection there being the 2500.
Yes, we were a little bit delayed getting our new merch on. I had an ambition to have many things start today, and having been brought down to my humanity and saying you can't do it all. And, we're going to be introducing some new merch over the next couple of weeks. So yes, this will be available. This was the people that have it now are people that worked on the 2500 fundraiser. So
Awesome.
we were keeping it for that. Yeah.
And all your merch is available on the website, yeah?
It is. It is.
If they go to the shop at the top there.
This not yet, though. This
That not yet, but
no,
there's lots of other really cool things
there's
on
a
there.
lot of
There's some
really
very
good stuff.
cool music on there.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I love that Townsend poster. I remember that really clearly from when I was, a lot younger. Yeah.
Did they have print machines back then?
They were
so
silk
much.
screen. The original one was silk screen on like a on what do you call that black light on orange black light.
Yeah.
And I had one, and I think at one point I don't know if my mom threw it out or it got lost somewhere, and then I saw one for sale for like $700 or something, and that was the only one I've ever seen online. I know someone out there has one. They'll probably sell it for the cost of an Odyssey or something.
It's funny, you still get people now who do this thing where they go, oh, it's the black and orange one. Oh, like that. Straight up. Because it's got it's the different film. Yeah, it's the black and orange one.
Let us know when you get more merch up there, because we'll push it. And if you've got any of those shirts, I will order one as soon as it's up there.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely getting these out there. And I'm trying to ship some off to the Record Co. on a rush order for the workshop. So,
by the way, I've got some albums from here, which thank you, Dina. And they are stunning. They are stunning. They really. They just go where they woo. There's some brilliant artists. You need to listen to some of this stuff. You really do.
Okay, I'd like to make a pitch then to the audience, and I'll be making a formal call to artists. So the centennial of my father's birth in 2025 is going to be what I hope a year of major celebration and awareness. If there ever was a time to do it, I think it would be next year. And we have a label that is interested in putting out a 2500 compilation. So we will have a call for artists. We're also going to try to reach out to artists that have already created music on the 2500. But if anyone remembers when I did the 95th birthday, I did a big. It was a very long watch party type thing that had people submit music that they wrote and talk, sort of an homage to my father. So we'd like to do something similar where we have artists submit work. I will make a formal announcement and give people an email address and where to send it and everything like that. We want to get a little organized with this time and not just have people emailing it to us and getting our Dropboxes full, but maybe create a place maybe on the website or something where we can.
Nice. Well, make sure you let us know, and then we'll obviously spread the word for you for sure. Well, so the concept is going to be people making music on a 2500, and that will go onto the compilation.
That'll go onto the compilation. Mm-hmm.
And does it have to be an actual 2500, or could they maybe use a software version of it?
Great question. I would say any emulation. So,
I was trying to go with 3 tracks on it.
Yeah, because there's not so many people. It'll just be a Benj album, won't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Benj and Zimmer.
I suppose you could put Hans's Dunkirk on it.
Yeah. Well, we are hoping that we can get some licensing for some. What I think would be the most interesting is if they were well-known and unknown artists, because they're. How do you get known unless you get out there?
Exactly.
And
you've
my
got to
father
ride in someone's coattails.
Yeah, and my father was into mentoring, and I feel that helping artists, get their foot in the door or be heard.
Who is your father's favorite artist?
You mean composer?
Composer or artist, both.
Monet.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, he loved classical music. Bach was, Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. As far as contemporary music, modern music, 20th century music, I would say Herbie Hancock and Mort Sabatnik.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Those are great references.
But he was given his choice, classical music all the way. I mean, that was his first love, his deepest love when it came to the music world. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, I think that I know you're heading off to New York, aren't you? Which sounds very glamorous, but it's kind of just up the road, really, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half train ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going. Yeah, and then family reunion and all that stuff. And I also have to check the settings and make sure that everything is right on the.
Absolutely.
On the, and probably answer. Say hello to a couple of the people who've commented.
What was this gizmo you were going to show? Is it too late now?
Oh yeah.
Is it too late?
If we've got,
I'll be back.
Have you got a few minutes? Yeah. Well, let me just remind everyone whilst you're doing that. So the main reason Dean is on here is today is what would have been the 99th birthday of her father, the great Alan R. Perlman, of course, of ARP. And in celebration of that, there are a few things going on, and this one is happening right after the end of the show. As you can see, it's premiering in just under 40 minutes' time, which gives us a little while before we have to drop off air and let you go and grab a refill and take a comfort break. But she's going to be talking with the great Anthony Marinelli, your friend and ours too. And it's a great conversation that will go live just after 9 p.m. UK time. So that's 4 on the East Coast and 1 on the West Coast, and wherever else you can work out from there. And also there is the opportunity now to rent time with the Art Foundation's 2500, which is housed at the Record Co. Over there in Boston. If you go to the website, you can rent time with that for a particular amount of money. I can't remember what Dina said now, but it's not hugely expensive, and you'll get some educational materials in there as well, so you can learn about it.
I think she said $10 to $25 per hour.
There you go, which is not an awful lot of money for time with such a legendary machine. So yeah, if you are in or around the Boston area, Massachusetts, there they are. They're 960 Massachusetts Avenue, Boston. All the details are on there, so go and if you have the time, book some time with that. And I'm just going to try and pad a little bit more because
I'll tell you what, I now have proof now that I shouldn't be allowed out alone, because when you had that Marinelli pickup, I actually tried to click on the notify me.
I did that as well.
Honest to God, and I was going, oh, it's not work. Oh, hang on a minute, no, this is a video stream.
Well,
the other thing, quick, I go. There is a recording of me playing Hans's 2500.
Oh.
It's a video. It's what I sent him to show it working.
Is that on your channel?
No, I think it's on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Not that accessible then?
Not immediately, no. I don't think it is. I don't think it's up anywhere.
Well, you could stick it up on your channel. We can put it on ours.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find it. You'll find it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, it's on with the mic in the iPad. So
oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Not the best.
But it's me, and that's massive 2500. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's back. What do you got, Dina?
Yeah. Ooh.
Noise generator.
Oh,
Well, this is one of the learning modules.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're very rare.
Yeah, they are.
There are not a lot of them out there. It is so ridiculously simple.
Yeah.
White noise, pink
On,
noise.
off, white noise, pink noise. That's it.
But our 2500 doesn't have a noise generator.
Shh, don't tell
The
it.
person that gave this to me didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, serendipity.
Isn't that great? So,
That's really cool.
yeah, I'm sure you all probably, well, I'm sure a lot of you know about the history of these things.
I must say I don't.
Tell us.
Kent?
Vague knowledge. Only vague.
So that's a no then.
From what old Chris told me.
Yeah, I mean these are learning modules, and they made many of them. They're battery operated, and it's really just a matter of making a connection. So they stopped making them. I'm not sure what year they stopped making them, but I know that the Murrows, Don Murrow and Joe Murrow.
Name
Don
sounds
Murrow
familiar.
he did a lot of work on the Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, so they have they were using these and had these for a long time.
So what other ones are there? What other modules are there?
Any module you can think of that's on an Odyssey.
And they just
really?
created a little black box of that module, and then what do? You just lay them out on the table and just connect them
together.
up. And,
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Oh, there you go. They have a set at Emmy app.
Of course. Yes, they do.
brilliant.
It's a bit like having an Odyssey in modular form, almost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
That's
So
very
yeah, so it was a lovely gentleman came to visit us a few weeks ago. Actually, we had some fun jamming. Ruperto played the drums, and he plugs in a theremin using I can't remember which synthesizer he uses as a controller, but it's a very small version of a Yamaha DX7 guitar kind of thing. I'll put it out
or
next
something.
week. Yeah, I'll put it out next week and show you. It was quite fun. So yeah, he's someone who's going to be working with us as a volunteer in the future, and I'm very excited.
Awesome.
So,
Brilliant stuff.
yeah.
Well, Dina, we shan't keep you any longer. Safe travels to New York. I hope you have a fantastic time with your family.
Thank you so much.
The
Thank you everyone for
greatest,
coming.
the greatest of success with the video that kicking off in about 35 minutes time.
Yeah.
So go over there, everyone, after you've watched us here. We will promise to finish dead on time to give everyone a chance. Good luck with the 2500 stuff. It'd be great to see some people use that, pictures or footage of people using that. That'd be fantastic to see.
Do you want to put the link in the chat?
Yeah, I think Andrew has done that. Andrew, if you just want to put the that'd be fantastic. And that's great. I mean, thank you ever so much for coming on. On this day of celebration. I hope you have a wonderful time and a safe journey, and come back again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Take care, Dina.
Thank you, Dina.
Nice,
see you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Dina Perlman, everyone. I would do the sound effects, but my sound effects aren't working, so let's just go.
Well, that's sort
Did she say yes? Did she say yes, though?
No, she didn't.
Yes. Oh.
No, she didn't.
No.
Behave yourself.
She's got to earn a lot more than that.
Yeah. So, we've got about half an hour. We did start a poll. Should PSN have a Discord channel? I'm going to end the poll now, because everyone has seemingly voted. And the result was 63% of viewers said we should have a Discord channel, and 36 said no. And there was a 76 vote. So it was of the people watching, about half our viewers have stated an opinion that we maybe should have a Discord channel. So that's something we will consider. Of course, the next question is, should we make that available to everyone, or should that be a Patreon exclusive? Because I know a lot of channels do a Patreon exclusive Discord channel. So, but interesting to know, and thank you all for your feedback. I mean, I used Discord begrudgingly because because an organisation I work for uses it as its main kind of communications platform.
Well, if it wasn't for Synchrotron, I didn't even know it existed.
Right. Yeah. I know Ramsey has one.
Finger on the pulse, Spong.
Nick from Sonic State, he has one too.
Yeah.
I don't know, whether we can set one up and maybe have a bunch of channels in there for different things. But thank you for the positive feedback, and we will look into that and see what we can do. And maybe add that as a Discord only benefit of some description. That would be cool. Excellent. Right. Okay. So we've got about half an hour to fill, and I thought we would fill it with a little discussion topic, and we'd love you guys and girls to jump into the chat as well. I wrote a feature, or I do a regular feature over at Gear News every Wednesday. And it's actually, I kind of took it on slightly begrudgingly. It was an idea that was suggested to me by the editorial team, and I was like, really? Okay. But what it's actually done is it's opened my eyes to a lot of things, and got me digging around for basically sounds and patches and presets. So every week I try and come up with maybe a theme. Or maybe something that links all of these things together, and then put links to people who make great sounds for synthesizers and patches and stuff. And I was struggling a little bit, and I always find myself like on a Tuesday morning thinking, right, I've got to get this ready for Wednesday. What am I going to do? And this week, I happened to have a video re-suggested to me. I remember watching it years ago. And it's this video that you see on screen now. It's called Essence Flight. And it was a video that was put together by the guys at Kodamo, who are responsible for the Essence FM and, of course, the Mask 1 synthesizer as well. And it reminded me that when I watched this video and heard the music contained therein, which I'm afraid, for want of not getting a copyright claim, I shan't play, but I thoroughly encourage you to go and check it out. These patches, and this is an entire recording with just the Essence FM, one instance of the Essence FM. It's not multi-tracked. This is the Essence FM because it's got like 300 note polyphony and a ridiculous amount of multi-timbrality. This video tipped me over the edge into buying the Essence FM, because when it first came out, I had 2 or 3 minor reservations, not least the price of it, because it was quite expensive. But I had a couple of sort of reservations, and I remember talking to Simon Alexander, and we were saying, yeah, is it? And then about a year later, they brought out the Mark II, which internally is identical. It just had some design changes, and it made it very appealing. And then they brought this video out, and that was it. I was sold. I remember hearing these patches and thinking, I've got to have this machine. If it sounds like this, I've got to have this machine. And it tipped me over the edge. And it got me thinking about what sounds persuaded other people to buy a synthesizer. So, for example, Kent Spong. I kind of guess I might know the answer to this one, but I'll ask you another curveball. So I'm guessing that it was some large Greek gentleman that turned you on to the CS80, or am I wrong?
Yes, it was, but only really because I was in love with the sound. But it was Vangelis who made it perfectly clear what he was using.
Right.
The rest of the time it was kind of an enigma.
Yeah.
And then when the Julian Lord Webber's Variations came out, and back in the good old days when you used to do gear lists on the back of the albums.
Yes, yeah.
And it was listening to CS80. You can hear the CS80 because literally it was the only polyphonic synth in the setup. The rest of them were all monos.
Yeah.
And you give it, there's no effects on it. It's just raw. And you're going, I love this sound. I love this sound. One day, I'm going to get a CS80, and then I go to the shop and find out how much they are, and then cry all the way home on the bus. So,
yeah.
But I mean, Universe on the M1.
Okay.
I went to Combi and did all that. And we go, how much? I don't care. Well, how much is it a week? I'm having it now, and it's not going back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's another one.
Yeah, was
definitely.
There any others that you remember sort of hearing a particular sound and think, yeah, got to have that?
There was a sound on the Andromeda A6, but I just never got around to being able to get and something else came along that turned my head, I think. But it was back in the day when manufacturers used to actually. I mean, they probably still do it today, but not as much as they used to do it originally. Where getting that big, impactful sound as patch one, so that people come in the shop and click, bang, ooh, and then want to explore it more because of it. So there was a lot more care, I think, with machines about what the first sound was going to be on the machines. I don't think it matters quite so much today because you can get to hear the machine so. So generally through YouTube and all the rest of it now. So it's probably not really an art that's been continued to the degree that it was in the 80s and that.
Yeah, because it was one thing I alluded to in that article, because I remember this so distinctly well because I was involved with it at the time, the Alesis Fusion. So the Alesis Fusion, in its own right, if you ignore the odd Buck Rogers in the 25th century design of the actual unit, inside the Fusion are some great synthesizer engines. It's got the VA engine that was in the Ion, which is really, really good. Its FM engine is different to, say, for example, algorithmic FM from Yamaha. So that's quite unique. It's got a great sampling engine in there. The physical modelling, not so much. But one of the things that killed it, in terms, and this was back in the days when we had bricks and mortar stores everywhere, and people could go in any day of the week and try out different synthesizers. When you walked into a store and you had the Roland workstation of the day, whatever it was, and the Yamaha, which I guess was probably the motif, or something that began with M, and you had Korg with Trinities or whatever. And then you had this new kid on the block, essentially, the Alesis Fusion. When you went to each of those machines, patch 1 or patch 0, bank A or whatever, as easily demonstrated by the M1 with Universe, you turn it on, the first patch that comes up is Universe. You play it and you go, as you did, oh my God, this is amazing. How much? When can I take it home? And the same with the Rolands and the same with the Korgs. You got to the Fusion. The first patch on the Fusion was a grand piano. And it wasn't even a very good grand piano. It actually had some odd samples in there. So, all right, so maybe patch 1 was supposed to be a really nice grand piano. Let's go to patch 2. Also a piano. Patch 3, another piano. Patch 4, piano. Patch 5, piano. All the way through to patch 10. Patch 11, electric piano. And then another one, and so on and so forth. So you get where I'm going with this. You walked into the store, you played it, and you just went, okay. And then you went to the next one, and you heard, Universe type things. And, wow, this is amazing. So they really shot themselves in the foot with that, because back then it was still an important thing to be able to go and play this. And the first bank of patches on any synthesizer has to be, maybe not so much these days, but had to be so impressive that blew everything. You had to have a little bit of everything. A great, synthesized pad sound that was evolving and almost three-dimensional. A brilliant sort of lead and a brilliant bass sound, so that straight away a user could get a great idea of it. And
there was no other source of finding out.
Exactly. Nowadays, with all these videos, you can say, "Oh, I don't care where the patch is, whether it's in Bank A or Bank B, or whether it's number 1 or number 2 on the list, as long as it's there." I mean, this thing, the Polybrute 12, follows that suit, because the opening patch, strangely enough, is called The Opening, and when you play it, it's this is brilliant, this is amazing. So,
because I don't think I bought a synthesizer based on how it sounds now for about 20 years.
Yeah,
I buy them based on the facility,
what it can do for
that comes with. How well can you play it? How expressive is it? And the sounds have almost become second to that particular want from buying the machine. So it's like I didn't know what an M8X sounded like as such, but I knew what it was going to sound like. You know what I mean? Because after about 40 years, you get a rough idea what it's going to sound like. But when it was saying, it's Poly AT, but weighted, and going, well, hello, yes.
Yeah. And that was we were getting excited about all of that stuff. Right? We knew
that
the montage. We knew that the montage was going to come with amazing sounds, but it was the facility. Dr. Metley in the chat brings up something else that was very true. The first patch on the Prophecy was on Bank A, Prophetic Steps, and it'd been used by the Prodigy on a particular track on Fat of the Land. And then you went to Bank B, and I think that was. What was the first patch? Was that Ski Jam? No, Ski Jam was Wave Station, wasn't it? But yeah, all of those great opening patches on the synthesizer. I remember hearing the Prophecy for the first time and playing Prophetic Steps and go, oh wow, that's brilliant, absolutely amazing. So it's very, very important. Andrew, what synthesizers have you bought based on that first sound experience, or hearing a patch played by someone on that tipped you over the edge and said, yep, gotta have me some of that?
Several. I think when I was possibly 16 or 17, I was working for the Post Office Telecommunications, which is now BT.
Yeah.
And
GPO.
I was based up in Finchley for a while. And right across the road from the Exchange was a music shop. And in there they had a Roland SH2000, which had, of all things, it had sample and hold, which I'd never heard before. And so I'd go in there at lunchtime and annoy the tits out of them because it had sample and hold. And so I could make weird notes, and I wasn't a player. I just thought it was amazing. That sold that to me, the fact it could do that, because I already had I think I had a Transcendent 2000, I bought a Transcendent 2000, then I bought that. So there was those. Another one, clearly like you two, was Universe. Another one was the D50, which had
Fantasia, wasn't it?
Well, it had Fantasia, but it also had the fifth sound. There was a fifth
Soundtrack.
Soundtrack.
I loved that sound. Yeah,
That was amazing, and so was
JD 800.
I think that was another Eric Persing patch, wasn't it?
The JD 800. I heard that a guy bought it from a shop. I was in a studio in London at the time, and one of the guys knew me well enough just to bring it in. He just left it and ran out. He said, "Just play with it. If you don't want it, just fine, send it back." And I was in the middle of a session. I kind of plug it up. And I played, I think it was Millennium something.
Yeah, it's just Millennium. Yeah, first patch.
Millennium, and I just went, I've got. And then I found the patch 15, which was the guitar-y sort of leady sound, and I just went, I have to have. That's it. It's never going back. So it's happened a lot, and also after hearing Cinema Show and that from Seconds Out and the tour of Space Pedals, I had to have a set of Taurus Space Pedals.
Right,
I had to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I get seduced. And with this, I mean, I was seduced by this. I saw it being demoed, and I saw the kind of control, and I thought, I think that's going to do what I want. And I knew it could do theoretically CS80-ish stuff.
Yeah.
And I've fallen in love with it. But it was the first demos I heard of the ANX engine. I didn't care a toss about the AWM2 or FM particularly. I didn't, but I was thinking of getting rid of my FM synth. So the FM was kind of but it was the ANX. I bought this for the ANX engine, and I've there's not been a moment's regret. Not a moment.
No. Well, I remember
I've been working on an Andromeda A6 this week.
Yeah.
Right.
And going through it, and I'm going, I really do like this. But I just won't buy it. It's a sword of Damocles to own an Andromeda A6. Sorry, Andromeda A6 owners, but it is.
But it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally a elephant hanging off a blade of grass onto a bunch of razor blades. It's just an accident waiting to happen.
And the one that's stuck with me is the Mask One. I still, it's been a year and a half. I yearn and lust after. I just don't have the cash at the moment, but I really yearn for a Mask One. It's a very different synth. I love it. I love the sound of it.
Yeah. No, I think for me, Prophetic Steps on the Prophecy definitely tipped the balance, because up until that point that I actually played a Prophecy, I had, again, we're talking mid-90s here, I was finally in a position to spend some money on some gear and get myself some sequencing software and a synthesizer and or keyboard. And all I could afford at the time was, thankfully to Turnkey and their wonderful end-of-line discount sales that they often had, a Roland sound canvas, an SC88 sound canvas, a 49 key controller from Evolution. Do you remember them? I think they got swallowed up by M Audio. Yeah. And they also had a piece of software that came with it called Evolution Audio, which was just a kind of a lame Cubase rip-off. But it worked, and it came free with a keyboard. And so I spent something between 500 or 600 notes on those things. And I remember at the time when I was doing my research, trying to get as much for my money as I could. And the reason I went for the sound canvas was because it was 32-part multi-timbral and 64-voice polyphonic. So I knew with one box I could do an entire composition rather than having to buy maybe 2 or 3 different things. But I remember doing my research and seeing the Called Prophecy, which was retailing for about 1,200 UK, brand new. And then looking at the specifications, looking at the machine itself, which you can't really see at the moment, but 37 keys? Well, where are the rest of them? Why would anybody want a 37-key keyboard? Secondly, why would anybody spend £1,200 on a monophonic synthesizer when I can have this massively polyphonic thing for 460, I think it was at the time? And so I mocked it from afar, not actually knowing anything really about it. And it was when I went to the launch... of something, and Korg were there, and they had some. I thought, let's have a listen. And it was just like, turn it on, Prophetic Steps, and then it goes, and it's just like, wow, okay. And then, 2 or 3 more of those presets, and that was it. I was just like, I got to have one of these in my life, and luckily I managed to find an store model for half price, and that was it. I was sold.
I must just point out here, when I was referring to Variations by Julian Lloyd Webber, yes, I know it was Andrew Lloyd Webber had his name all over it, but it was because
both
of
them, wasn't it?
Well, what it was, there was a football match, and Julian wanted to do that album, and he didn't. And he said, well, look, if Transmere Rovers win, or whatever it was, we do the album. And they won, so they did the album. But it's not just that. It's. I always call it Julian Lloyd Webber's Variations because Andrew Lloyd Webber is just...
Careful.
Careful.
Yeah,
well, he is. A bit of a prejudice mode, and his face is on Inside Out. He's the twat. He's the twat who flew from New York to London to vote for the bedroom tax, and then flew back again. The bloke's a 24-carat gold.
Yep.
Stylophone tip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that's why. That's why.
On another note, I just remembered that I bought, in a roundabout way, my MKS80 because I'd heard, I was a big fan of Duran, the Duran Rio album and the Jupiter 8s. It was the Jupiter 8s, and I really wanted a Jupiter 8. And I went into the store. I got my first production job where I was getting paid lots of money, so I was going in to buy keyboards. And I went in to buy a Jupiter 8, and they happened to have an MKS80 in there as well, because the Jupiter 8 was getting quite old and long in the tooth by that point. And I listened to the MKS80, and I preferred the sound of it with the programmer. I preferred the sound and the fact that it was velocity and all that. I preferred the sound of the MKS80 to the Jupiter 8, and everyone said I'm mad, and they still do, but I've always loved the MKS80. And a few, just remembering that, going back a few years before that, so that was mid-80s, 85, 86, and I think 81, 82, maybe even earlier, was when the first Wave came out. It wasn't the Wave 2, it was the Wave. And I think it was Andy Thomas, might have been Andy Thomas that demoed that to me, or someone else. And the first note I heard was wavetables coming down. I just went, I've got to have one of these in my life. Because it was just such a unique sound. Yeah. So I remember,
Another odd one I remember was the Yamaha CS1X, because I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, that looks cool, because it had that cut-off edge to it, and it was blue, and it was $599 as opposed to a lot more for supposed analog-esque, because obviously it's not analog, it's all sample-based, but it was trying to cash in on that whole analog revival of the 90s. And I ordered one without hearing it, and when I got it, patch one on both the there's 2 banks. There's a performance bank and a user bank, and the user bank is full of stuff anyway, but both patch ones on both of those banks was called drum tracks. There was drum tracks 1 or drum, and it was an awful arpeggiated drum pattern thing that when you played a key, it made a drum pattern, but it wasn't really a useful drum pattern. Go to patch 2 and everything starts to improve drastically with some really nice stuff in there. And I still would like to get a CS1 because I stupidly sold mine. And I have been offered one, and I need to sort out going to pick it up. But that was a really odd one where the first patch was just, if I had heard that, I might not have gone in for it. But because seeing as I'd already shelled out £599, I kept it. But it was a really nice, for someone getting into it, it was a great little synth. But not the best opening sounds in the world.
And then samplers came along.
Yeah, indeed.
And my head was turned.
Well, the thing is with samplers, they came along and they didn't have anything loaded in them. You had to put it in yourself.
That's what made them even better. They could be
Exactly,
anything you wanted them to be.
That's
exactly.
what I loved about the samplers, and I particularly loved it about the Akai stuff because it was affordable. It became ubiquitous, and you could walk around with a Sony Walkman Professional and just hold it onto things. You know, you could record. I remember going around banging skips with bits of wood and using those as kick drums and dropping chains. And
but suddenly everything, the roles had been reversed because if you had a sample and you didn't like the sounds, it was your fault. Not the manufacturer's fault.
Yeah.
And you got employed. You know, I used to get work because I had my own sample library that was quite extraordinarily good, and I'd curate this stuff. I remember talking to Steve Howell about this many times about how if you find a sound, it's a bit like with music. If you find a sound that you've sampled that works in what that you put together and works for you, you're going to find an audience that wants to have it, and that's pretty much how he put all of his things together. He did the things he liked because he knew he'd find an audience, and he was always right about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I miss that man.
Yeah.
The cantankerous
Oh,
drive
God,
down from
yeah.
Wales. Fucker that he is, but I love
the OG grumpy old man. But he always did it with a smile on his face and a beer in his hand.
Yeah.
Or something.
You always felt he knew something you didn't, and he got the joke before you did. Always.
Yeah. Well, he always knew way more than I ever thought I could know. Bless him, indeed. So yeah, I think that was an interesting little thing. We haven't seen. I know a lot of people kind of been agreeing with us or disagreeing with certain things in terms of first patches, but it doesn't really work these days because now we watch a YouTube video. I mean, if you watch again, and I'm just because it's at the front of my thinking, the first Arturia video for the Polybrute 12, which is a 2.5 minute jam on one patch. Had I not already decided I wanted one of those things, it would have sold me. It would have tipped me because that was just a great thing. It was a really great demonstration, and it's very close to the top of the opening list of patches. So some manufacturers do still, I think, put some good stuff at the very beginning.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just that you can get so many because one time a day you buy a synth and it had 32 patches.
Yeah.
Exactly, or 4 banks of 8 or whatever.
Do you remember Blue Weaver coming up with what did he call it for the D50? He had an editor for the D50. I'm sure it was Blue Weaver, and so there was lots of other additional patches. I'm pretty certain it was him, and they were brilliant. So you could have all these additional patches without having to dive in and deep whatever. That was really cool as well. I remember hearing some of his stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
actually, funny enough, I have a lovely memory of when I got my Mirage, and I was wandering around the house looking for things to sample. My mum had this huge glass, red glass, like a flower. No, wet the thing and do the on the top, right?
The Baum Bowl.
Yeah. Now, and this thing, it was a wedding present. It was her pride and joy, this thing, and it was really, really delicate. And I had it on the table, and then the Mirage next to it was like that. And my mum comes in, she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to try and record it." And she went, "All right, well, you hold it," and she's dipping the water. And I go, "Okay, like that." And she's going and making it make this sound. Because under normal circumstances, me going near this thing would have been, whack across the back of the head with a broom handle. And we recorded it in, and I edited it all up. I was really good with Hex back then. And I'm going, I edit up that wave. Okay, right, yeah, I don't know. And played a note, and it was absolutely spot on. Love it. And I said, "Go on, give it a try." So she starts pushing keys and everything like that. I couldn't get her off the bloody thing. I could not get her off it. She played that a good half hour.
Yeah.
Just trying it, and she goes, "Oh, isn't that lovely, that sound?" I go, "Cool, can you imagine what it'd be like through some digital reverb?" And she went, "Oh yeah." I'm going, "Mum, can you sign a a bank loan for me because I want to buy a Yamaha." What was it? I think it was the R1000 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a huge amount, but I had no money at all. And she's going, "Oh," I said, "Do you imagine what it sounded like through reverb?" And she goes, "All right, we'll see. We might go out to bootleg on Saturday." Yes, score.
Excellent stuff.
Terrible.
Well, gentlemen, I think that's eaten up all the time we have. I'm very conscious of ending, if not a little before, the 9 o'clock, because I want everybody to have the chance to go and have a comfort break,
Make a cup of tea, and then go and watch.
That's it, and then go and watch that. And Anthony, who is an absolute ledge. They're both absolute ledges. So look forward to.
Dina's thinking about marrying me.
Just.
She is. Like
I don't think they've invented a machine that could measure the amount of time that she doesn't.
And on that note, thank you again to Dina Perlman for coming on to the show at very short notice to talk about obviously the anniversary of her father's birthday, which is today, would have been 99, telling us about what will be happening next year for his 100th birthday, and for also telling us all about the 2500 that you can now rent at the Record Co in Boston, and all the other great stuff. She's an absolute legend. Thank you for coming on again. And of course, right now, in a few minutes' time, head on over to the Alan R. Perlman Foundation YouTube channel. I'm sure Andy will pop the link up yet again. He's been doing it all night. There it is. Look at that. Bang on cue. Go to that and go and watch Dina talking to the great Anthony Marinelli, who we will hopefully have back on this show fairly soon. I made him promise me when I saw him in Berlin, so he'll be back on the show. And
he's a really interesting guy.
Yeah, really, just such a cool dude.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone that watched. Thanks for your subscriptions.
For all of this, along with Bob and Tom and Dave and
all those legends all those
and
legends.
Making them light to carry.
Yeah.
Yes.
He put a handle on the synth.
There you go. That's designed
years ahead of his time.
Yep. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. Give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell so that you get notified of all of our stuff. I am going to be doing a Polybrute 12 demo video of some kind. It will be a live thing, as we always do, because I just don't have the time to edit stuff. But we'll go through that live with you. I've got to get some cameras set up around it. My daughter's just upgraded her mobile phone and given me her old phone, which is not actually that old, and it's got a 4K camera, so I'm going to be using that for other shots and stuff. So that's cool.
Rand's tomorrow?
Sorry, Rand's is on tomorrow. Yes,
he is on tomorrow.
He is on, and I've threatened that we three of us, because obviously Matt and I are going to see Kent. We can drop in and.
Mayhem.
Cause some aggro.
The three amigos.
But Rand's tomorrow, and hopefully Synchrotron will be doing.
Jamie Sunday.
Jamie is coming back on Sundays. I don't know if it's this Sunday, but he is going to be.
I got the impression it was this Sunday. I got the impression it was this Sunday. So keep
lots of stuff.
Keep them peeled.
Yeah,
as old what's his name used to say.
Sonic State on Wednesdays. There's loads of other people, and as
Synchrotron tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Synchrotron tomorrow morning. Go and see him, and maybe a pub as well.
Oh, I think we'll have to do one.
Yeah. But after I get home,
because I have so much swearing building up in me.
Anyway,
it's my out.
Thank you very much for your company, as per usual. I will see you tomorrow. I will see you at some other time in the future.
And
we might have some special news about ProSynth Network attending more synthesizer shows next week.
Yeah.
But until that time, have a great one. Go and watch Dina and Anthony right now. See you all soon. Take care. Love you loads. Bye.
Bye.